Chapter 66. All search for happiness is misery. Questioner. I've come from England and I'm on my way to Madras. There I shall meet my father and will go by car overland to London. I'm to study psychology, but I don't know yet what I shall do when I get my degree. I may try industrial psychology or psychotherapy. My father is a general physician. I may follow that same line. But this does not exhaust my interests. There are certain questions which do not change with time. I understand you have some answers to such questions, and this made me come to see you. Maharaj. I wonder whether I am the right man to answer your questions. I know little about things and people. I know only that I am, and that much you also know. We are equals. Q. Of course I know that I am, but I do not know what it means. M. What you take to be the I in the I am is not you. To know that you are is natural. To know what you are is the result of much investigation. You'll have to explore the entire field of consciousness and go beyond it. For this, you must find the right teacher and create the conditions needed for discovery. Generally speaking, there are two ways, external and internal. Either you live with somebody who knows the truth and submit yourself entirely to his guiding and molding influence, or you seek the inner guide and follow the inner light wherever it takes you. In both cases, your personal desires and fears must be disregarded. You learn either by proximity or by investigation, the passive or the active way. You either let yourself be carried by the river of life and love represented by your guru, or you make your own efforts, guided by your own inner star. In both cases, you must move on. You must be earnest. Rare are the people who are lucky to find somebody worthy of trust and love. Most of them must take the hard way, the way of intelligence and understanding, of discrimination and detachment. This is the way open to all. Q. I'm lucky to have come here, though I'm leaving tomorrow. One talk with you may affect my entire life. M. Yes, once you say I want to find the truth, all your life will be deeply affected by it. All your mental and physical habits, feelings and emotions, desires and fears, plans and decisions will undergo a most radical transformation. Q. Once I have made up my mind to find the reality, what do I do next? M. It depends on your treatment. If you are earnest, whatever way you choose will take you to your goal. It's the earnestness that is the decisive factor. Q. What is the source of earnestness? M. It is the homing instinct, which makes the bird return to its nest and the fish to the mountain stream where it was born. The seed returns to the earth when the fruit is ripe. Ripeness is all. Q. And what will ripen me? Do I need experience? M. You already have all the experience you need, otherwise you would not have come here. You need not gather any more, rather you must go beyond experience. Whatever effort you make, whatever method, sadhana you follow, will merely generate more experience, but will not take you beyond. Nor will reading books help you. They will enrich your mind, but the person you are will remain intact. If you expect any benefits from your search, material, mental, or spiritual, you have missed the point. Truth gives no advantage. It gives you no higher status, no power over others. All you get is truth and the freedom from the false. Q. Surely truth gives you the power to help others. M. This is mere imagination, however noble. In truth, you do not help others because there are no others. You divide people into noble and ignoble, and you ask the noble to help the ignoble. You separate, you evaluate, you judge and condemn. In the name of truth, you destroy it. Your very desire to formulate truth denies it, because it cannot be constrained in words. Truth can be expressed only by the denial of the false, in action. For this, you must see the false as false, viveka, and reject it, vairagya. Renunciation of the false is liberating and energizing. It lays open the road to perfection. Q. When do I know that I have discovered truth? M. When the idea, this is true, that is true, does not arise. Truth does not assert itself. It is in the seeing of the false as false and rejecting it. It is useless to search for truth when the mind is blind to the false. It must be purged of the false completely before truth can dawn on it. Q. But what is false? M. Surely what has no being is false. Q. What do you mean by having no being? The false is there, hard as a nail. M. What contradicts itself has no being, or it has only momentary being which comes to the same. For what has a beginning and an end has no middle, it is hollow. It has only the name and shape given to it by the mind, but it has neither substance nor essence. Q. If all that passes has no being, then the universe has no being either. M. Whoever denies it? Of course the universe has no being. Q. What has? M. That which does not depend for its existence, which does not arise with the universe arising, nor set with the universe setting, which does not need any proof, but imparts reality to all it touches. It's the nature of the false that it appears real for a moment. One could say that the true becomes the father of the false, but the false is limited in time and space, and it is produced by circumstances. Q. How am I to get rid of the false and secure the real? M. To what purpose? Q. In order to live a more satisfactory life, integrated and happy. M. Whatever is conceived by the mind must be false, for it's bound to be relative and limited. The real is inconceivable and cannot be harnessed to a purpose. It must be wanted for its own sake. Q. How can I want the inconceivable? M. What else is there worth wanting? Granted, the real cannot be wanted as a thing is wanted, but you can see the unreal as unreal and discard it. It is the discarding the false that opens the way to the true. Q. I understand, but how does it look in actual daily life? M. Self-interest and self-concern are the focal points of the false. Your daily life vibrates between desire and fear. Watch it intently, and you'll see how the mind assumes innumerable names and shapes, like a river foaming between the boulders. Trace every action to its selfish motive, and look at the motive intently until it dissolves. Q. To live, one must look after oneself. One must earn money for oneself. M. You need not earn for yourself, but you may have to for a woman and a child. You may have to keep on working for the sake of others. Even just to keep alive can be a sacrifice. There's no need whatsoever to be selfish. Discard every self-seeking motive as soon as it's seen, and you need not search for truth. Truth will find you. Q. There is a minimum of needs. M. Were they not supplied since you were conceived? Give up the bondage of self-concern and be what you are, intelligence and love in action. Q. But one must survive. M. You can't help surviving. The real you is timeless and beyond birth and death, and the body will survive as long as it's needed. It's not important that it should live long. A full life is better than a long life. Q. Who's to say what is a full life? It depends on my cultural background. M. If you seek reality, you must set yourself free of all backgrounds, of all cultures, of all patterns of thinking and feeling. Even the idea of being man or woman or even human should be discarded. The ocean of life contains all, not only humans. So, first of all, abandon all self-identification. Stop thinking of yourself as such and so, this or that. Abandon all self-concern. Worry not for your welfare, material or spiritual. Abandon every desire, gross or subtle. Stop thinking of achievement of any kind. You are complete here and now. You need absolutely nothing. It does not mean that you must be brainless and foolhardy, improvident or indifferent. Only the basic anxiety for oneself must go. You need some food, clothing, and shelter for you and yours, but this will not create problems as long as greed is not taken for a need. Live in tune with things as they are and not as they are imagined. Q. What am I if not human? M. That which makes you think that you are a human is not human. It is but a dimensionless point of consciousness, a conscious nothing. All you can say about yourself is, I am. You are pure being, awareness, bliss. To realize that is the end of all seeking. You come to it when you see all you think yourself to be as mere imagination and stand aloof in pure awareness of the transient as transient, imaginary as imaginary, unreal as unreal. It's not at all difficult, but detachment is needed. It is the clinging to the false that makes the true so difficult to see. Once you understand that the false needs time and what needs time is false, you are nearer the reality, which is timeless, ever in the now. Eternity in time is mere repetitiveness, like the movement of a clock. It flows from the past into the future, endlessly. Reality is what makes the present so vital, so different from the past and future, which are merely mental. If you need time to achieve something, it must be false. The real is always with you. You need not wait to be what you are. Only you must not allow your mind to go out of yourself in search. When you want something, ask yourself, do I really need it? And if the answer is no, then just drop it. Q. Must I not be happy? I may not need a thing, yet if it can make me happy, should I not grasp it? M. Nothing can make you happier than yourself. All search for happiness is misery and leads to more misery. The only happiness worth the name is the natural happiness of conscious being. Q. Don't I need a lot of experience before I can reach such high levels of awareness? M. Experience leaves only memories behind and adds to the burden which is heavy enough. You need no more experiences. The past ones are sufficient. And if you feel you need more, look into the hearts of the people around you. You will find a variety of experiences which you would not be able to go through in 1,000 years. Learn from the sorrows of others and save yourself your own. It is not experience that you need, but the freedom from all experience. Don't be greedy for experience. You need none. Q. Don't you pass through experiences yourself? M. Things happen around me, but I take no part in them. An event becomes an experience only when I am emotionally involved. I am in a state which is complete, which seeks not to improve on itself. Of what use is experience to me? Q. One needs knowledge, education. M. To deal with things, knowledge of things is needed. To deal with people, you need insight, sympathy. To deal with yourself, you need nothing. Be what you are, conscious being, and don't stray away from yourself. Q. University education is most useful. M. No doubt, it helps you earn a living, but it does not teach you how to live. You are a student of psychology. It may help you in certain situations, but can you live by psychology? Life is worthy of the name only when it reflects reality in action. No university will teach you how to live so that when the time of dying comes, you can say, I lived well, I do not need to live again. Most of us die wishing we could live again. So many mistakes committed, so much left undone. Most of what people regret but do not live, they merely gather experience and enrich their memory. But experience is the denial of reality, which is neither sensory nor conceptual, neither of the body nor of the mind, though it includes and transcends both. Q. But experience is most useful. By experience, you learn not to touch a flame. M. I have told you already that knowledge is most useful in dealing with things, but it does not tell you how to deal with people and yourself, how to live a life. We are not talking of driving a car or earning money. For this you need experience. But for being a light unto yourself, material knowledge will not help you. You need something much more intimate and deeper than immediate knowledge to be yourself in the true sense of the word. Your outer life is unimportant. You can become a night watchman and live happily. It's what you are inwardly that matters. Your inner peace and joy you have to earn. It's much more difficult than earning money. No university can teach you to be yourself. The only way to learn is by practice. Right away, begin to be yourself. Discard all you are not and go ever deeper. Just as a man digging a well discards what is not water until he reaches the water-bearing strata, so must you discard what is not your own until nothing is left which you can disown. You'll find that what is left is nothing which the mind can hook onto. You are not even a human being. You just are. A point of awareness, coextensive with time and space and beyond both, the ultimate cause itself uncaused. If you ask me, who are you? My answer would be, nothing in particular, yet I am. Q. If you're nothing in particular, then you must be the universal. M. What is to be universal? Not as a concept, but as a way of life. Not to separate, not to oppose, but to understand and love whatever contacts you is living universally. To be able to say truly, I am the world is me. I am at home in the world is my own. Every existence is my existence. Every consciousness is my consciousness. Every sorrow is my sorrow, and every joy is my joy. This is universal life. Yet my real being, and yours too, is beyond the universe, and therefore beyond the categories of the particular and the universal. It is what is, totally self-contained and independent. Q. I find it hard to understand. You must give yourself time to brood over these things. The old grooves must be erased in your brain without forming new ones. You must realize yourself as the immovable, behind and beyond the movable, the silent witness of all that happens. Q. Does it mean that I must give up all idea of an active life? M. Not at all. There will be marriage, there will be children. There will be earning money to maintain a family. All this will happen in the natural course of events, for destiny must fulfill itself. You will go through it without resistance, facing tasks as they come, attentive and thorough, both in small things and big. But the general attitude will be of affectionate detachment, enormous goodwill, without expectation of return, constant giving without asking. In marriage, you are neither the husband nor the wife. You are the love between the two. You are the clarity and kindness that makes everything orderly and happy. It may seem vague to you, but if you think a little, you'll find that the mystical is most practical, for it makes your life creatively happy. Your consciousness is raised to a higher dimension from which you can see everything much clearer and with greater intensity. You realize that the person you became at birth and will cease to be at death is temporary and false. You are not the sensual, emotional, and intellectual person gripped by fears and desires. Find out your real being. What am I? Is the fundamental question of all philosophy and psychology. Go into it deeply. Chapter 67. Experience is not the real thing. Maharaj. The seeker is he who is in search of himself. Soon he discovers that his own body he cannot be. Once the conviction, I am not the body, becomes so well grounded that he can no longer feel, think, and act for and on behalf of the body, he will easily discover that he is the universal being, knowing, acting, that in him and through him the entire universe is real, conscious, and active. This is the heart of the problem. Either you are body conscious and a slave of circumstances, or you are the universal consciousness itself and in full control of every event. Yet consciousness, individual or universal, is not my true abode. I am not in it. It is not mine. There is no me in it. I am beyond, though it is not easy to explain how one can be neither conscious nor unconscious, but just beyond. I cannot say that I am in God, or I am God. God is the universal light and love, the universal witness. I am beyond the universal even. Questioner. In that case, you are without name and shape. What kind of being have you? M. I am what I am, neither with form nor formless, neither conscious nor unconscious. I am outside all these categories. Q. You are taking the nati-nati, not this approach. M. You cannot find me by mere denial. I am as well everything as nothing, nor both, nor either. These definitions apply to the Lord of the universe, not to me. Q. Do you intend to convey that you are just nothing? M. Oh, no. I am complete and perfect. I am the beingness of being, the knowingness of knowing, the fullness of happiness. You cannot reduce me to emptiness. Q. If you are beyond words, what shall we talk about? Metaphysically speaking, what you say holds together. There is no inner contradiction. But there is no food for me in what you say. It is so completely beyond my urgent needs. When I ask for bread, you're giving me jewels. They are beautiful, no doubt, but I am hungry. M. It is not so. I am offering you exactly what you need, awakening. You are not hungry and you need no bread. You need cessation, relinquishing, disentanglement. What you believe you need is not what you need. Your real need, I know, not you. You need to return to the state in which I am, your natural state. Anything else you may think of is an illusion and an obstacle. Believe me, you need nothing except to be what you are. You imagine you will increase your value by acquisition. It is like gold imagining that an addition of copper will improve it. Elimination and purification, renunciation of all that is foreign to your nature is enough. All else is vanity. Q. It is easier said than done. A man comes to you with stomachache and you advise him to disgorge his stomach. Of course, without the mind there will be no problems. But the mind is there, most tangibly. M. It is the mind that tells you the mind is there. Don't be deceived. All the endless arguments about the mind are produced by the mind itself for its own protection, continuation, and expansion. It is the blank refusal to consider the convolutions and convolutions of the mind that can take you beyond it. Q. Sir, I am a humble seeker, while you are the supreme reality itself. Now the seeker approaches the supreme in order to be enlightened. What does the supreme do? M. Listen to what I keep on telling you and do not move far away from it. Think of it all the time and of nothing else. Having reached that far, abandon all thoughts, not only of the world but of yourself also. Stay beyond all thoughts in silent being awareness. It is not progress, for what you come to is already there in you, waiting for you. Q. So you say I should try to stop thinking and stay steady in the idea I am? M. Yes, and whatever thoughts come to you in connection with the I am, empty them of all meaning. Pay them no attention. Q. I happen to meet many young people coming from the West, and I find that there's a basic difference when I compare them to Indians. It looks as if their psyche, antakarna, is different. Concepts like self, reality, pure mind, universal consciousness, the Indian mind grasps easily. They ring familiar. They taste sweet. The Western mind does not respond or just rejects them. It concretizes and wants to utilize at once in the service of accepted values. These values are often personal: health, well-being, prosperity. Sometimes they're social: a better society, a happier life for all. All are concerned with worldly problems, personal or impersonal. Another difficulty one comes across quite often in talking with Westerners is that to them, everything is experience. As they want to experience food, drink, and women, art, and travels, so do they want to experience yoga, realization, and liberation. To them, it's just another experience to be had for a price. They imagine such experience can be purchased, and they can bargain about the cost. When one guru quotes too high in terms of time and effort, they go to another, who offers installment terms, apparently very easy, but beset with unfillable conditions. It's the old story of not thinking of the gray monkey when taking the medicine. In this case, it is not thinking of the world, abandoning all selfhood, extinguishing every desire, becoming perfect celibates, etc. Naturally, there's vast cheating going on all levels, and the results are nil. Some gurus, in sheer desperation, abandon all discipline, prescribe no conditions, advise effortlessness, naturalness, simply living in passive awareness, without any pattern of must and must not. And there are many disciples whose past experience brought them to dislike themselves so badly that they just do not want to look at themselves. If they are not disgusted, they're bored. They have surfeit of self-knowledge. They want something else. M. Let them not think of themselves if they do not like it. Let them stay with the Guru, watch him, think of him. Soon they will experience a kind of bliss, quite new, never experienced before, except maybe in childhood. The experience is so unmistakably new that it will attract their attention and create interest. Once the interest is roused, orderly application will follow. Q. These people are very critical and suspicious. They cannot be otherwise, having passed through much learning and much disappointment. On one hand, they want experience. On the other, they mistrust it. How to reach them, God alone knows. M. True insight and love will reach them. Q. When they have some spiritual experience, another difficulty arises. They complain that the experience does not last, that it comes and goes in a haphazard way. Having got hold of the lollipop, they want to suck it all the time. M. Experience, however sublime, is not the real thing. By its very nature, it comes and goes. Self-realization is not an acquisition. It is more of the nature of understanding. Once arrived at, it cannot be lost. On the other hand, consciousness is changeful, flowing, undergoing transformation from moment to moment. Do not hold on to consciousness and its contents. Consciousness held ceases. To try to perpetuate a flash of insight or a burst of happiness is destructive of what it wants to preserve. What comes must go. The permanent is beyond all comings and going. Go to the root of all experience, to the sense of being. Beyond being and not being lies the immensity of the real. Try and try again. Q. To try, one needs faith. M. There must be the desire first. When the desire is strong, the willingness to try will come. You do not need assurance of success. When the desire is strong, you are ready to gamble. Q. Strong desire, strong faith. It comes to the same. These people do not trust either their parents or the society or even themselves. All they touched turned to ashes. Give them one experience absolutely genuine, indubitable, beyond the argumentations of the mind, and they will follow you to the world's end. M. But I am doing nothing else. Tirelessly I draw their attention to the one incontrovertible factor, that of being. Being needs no proofs. It proves all else. If only they go deeply into the fact of being and discover the vastness and the glory to which the I am is the door, and cross the door and go beyond, their life will be full of happiness and light. Believe me, the effort needed is as nothing when compared to the discoveries arrived at. Q. What you say is right. But these people have neither confidence nor patience. Even a short effort tires them. It's really pathetic to see them groping blindly and yet unable to hold on to the helping hand. They are such nice people fundamentally, but totally bewildered. I tell them, you cannot have truth on your own terms. You must accept the conditions. To this they answer, some will accept the conditions and some will not. Acceptance or non-acceptance are superficial and accidental. Reality is in all. There must be a way for all to tread, with no conditions attached. M. There is such a way open to all on every level, in every walk of life. Everybody is aware of himself. The deepening and broadening of self-awareness is the royal way. Call it mindfulness or witnessing or just attention. It is for all. None is unripe for it, and none can fail. But of course, you must not be merely alert. Your mindfulness must include the mind also. Witnessing is primarily awareness of consciousness and its movements. Chapter 68. Seek the source of consciousness. Questioner. We were talking the other day about the ways of the modern Western mind and the difficulty it finds in submitting to the moral and intellectual discipline of Vedanta. One of the obstacles lies in the young Europeans' or Americans' preoccupation with the disastrous condition of the world and the urgent need of setting it right. They have no patience with people like you who preach personal improvement as a precondition for the betterment of the world. They say it is neither possible nor necessary. Humanity is ready for a change of systems, social, economic, political, a world government, world police, world planning, and the abolition of all physical and ideological barriers. This is enough. No personal transformation is needed. Maharaj, no doubt, striving for the improvement of the world is a most praiseworthy occupation. Done selflessly, it clarifies the mind and purifies the heart. But soon, man will realize that he pursues a mirage. Local and temporary improvements is always possible and was achieved again and again under the influence of a great king or teacher, but it would soon come to an end, leaving humanity in a new cycle of misery. It is the nature of all manifestation that the good and the bad follow each other and in equal measure. The true refuge is only in the unmanifested. Q. Are you not advising escape? M. On the contrary. The only way to renewal lies through destruction. You must melt down the old jewelry into formless gold before you can mold a new one. Only the people who have gone beyond the world can change the world. It never happened otherwise. The few whose impact was long-lasting were all knowers of reality. Reach their level and then only talk of helping the world. Q. It is not the rivers and the mountains that we want to help, but the people. M. There's nothing wrong with the world, but for the people who make it bad. Go and ask them to behave. Q. Desire and fear make them behave as they do. M. Exactly. As long as human behavior is dominated by desire and fear, there's not much hope. And to know how to approach the people effectively, you must yourself be free of all desire and fear. Q. Certain basic desires and fears are inevitable, such as are connected with food, sex, and death. M. These are needs, and as needs, they are easy to meet. Q. Even death is a need? M. Having lived a long and fruitful life, you feel the need to die. Only when wrongly applied, desire and fear are destructive. By all means, desire the right and fear the wrong. But when people desire what is wrong and fear what is right, they create chaos and despair. Q. What is right and what is wrong? M. Relatively, what causes suffering is wrong. What alleviates it is right. Absolutely, what brings you back to reality is right, and what dims reality is wrong. Q. When we talk of helping humanity, we mean a struggle against disorder and suffering. M. You merely talk of helping. Have you ever really helped a single man? Have you ever put one soul beyond the need of further help? Can you give a man character based on full realization of his duties and opportunities at least, if not on the insight into his true being? When you do not know what is good for yourself, how can you know what is good for others? Q. The adequate supply of means of livelihood is good for all. You may be God himself, but you need a well-fed body to talk to us. M. It is you that need my body to talk to you. I am not my body, nor do I need it. I am the witness only. I have no shape of my own. You are so accustomed to think of yourselves as bodies having consciousness that you just cannot imagine consciousness as having bodies. Once you realize that bodily existence is but a state of mind, a movement in consciousness, that the ocean of consciousness is infinite and eternal, and that when in touch with consciousness you are the witness only, you will be able to withdraw beyond consciousness altogether. Q. We are told there are many levels of existence. Do you exist and function on all the levels? While you are on earth, are you also in heaven? M. I am nowhere to be found. I am not a thing to be given a place among other things. All things are in me, but I am not among things. You are telling me about the superstructure while I am concerned with the foundations. The superstructures rise and fall, but the foundations last. I'm not interested in the transient, while you talk of nothing else. Q. Forgive me a strange question. If somebody with a razor-sharp sword would suddenly sever your head, what difference would it make to you? M. None whatsoever. The body will lose its head. Certain lines of communication will be cut. That is all. Two people talk to each other on the phone, and the wire is cut. Nothing happens to the people. Only they must look for some other means of communication. The Bhagavad Gita says the sword does not cut it. It is literally so. It is in the nature of consciousness to survive its vehicles. It is like fire. It burns up the fuel, but not itself. Just like a fire cannot last a mountain of fuel, so does consciousness survive innumerable bodies. Q. The fuel affects the flame. M. As long as it lasts. Change the nature of the fuel and the color and appearance of the flame will change. Now we are talking to each other. For this, presence is needed. Unless we are present, we cannot talk. But presence by itself is not enough. There must also be the desire to talk. Above all, we want to remain conscious. We shall bear every suffering and humiliation, but we shall rather remain conscious. Unless we revolt against this craving for experience and let go of the manifested altogether, there can be no relief. We shall remain trapped. Q. You say you are the silent witness, and also you are beyond consciousness. Is there no contradiction in it? If you are beyond consciousness, what are you witnessing to? M. I am conscious and unconscious, both conscious and unconscious, neither conscious nor unconscious. To all this I am witness. But really there is no witness, because there is nothing to be a witness to. I am perfectly empty of all mental formations, void of mind, yet fully aware. This I try to express by saying that I am beyond the mind. Q. How can I reach you then? M. Be aware of being conscious and seek the source of consciousness. That is all. Very little can be conveyed in words. It is the doing as I tell you that will bring light, not my telling you. The means do not much matter. It is the desire, the urge, the earnestness that count. Chapter 69. Transiency is proof of unreality. Questioner. My friend is a German, and I was born in England from French parents. I'm in India since over a year, wandering from ashram to ashram. Maharaj. Any spiritual practices, sadhanas? Q. Studies and meditation. M. What did you meditate on? Q. On what I read. M. Good. Q. What are you doing, sir? M. Sitting. Q. And what else? M. Talking. Q. What are you talking about? M. Do you want a lecture? Better ask something that really touches you so that you feel strongly about it. Unless you are emotionally involved, you may argue with me, but there will be no real understanding between us. If you say, nothing worries me, I have no problems, it is all right with me, we can keep quiet. But if something really touches you, then there is purpose in talking. Shall I ask you, what is the purpose of your moving from place to place? Q. To meet people, to try to understand them. M. What people are you trying to understand? What exactly are you after? Q. Integration. M. If you want integration, you must know whom you want to integrate. Q. By meeting people and watching them, one comes to know oneself also. It goes together. M. It does not necessarily go together. Q. One improves the other. M. It does not work that way. The mirror reflects the image, but the image does not improve the mirror. You are neither the mirror nor the image in the mirror. Having perfected the mirror so that it reflects correctly, truly, you can turn the mirror around and see in it a true reflection of yourself. True as far as the mirror can reflect. But the reflection is not yourself. You are the seer of the reflection. Do understand it clearly. Whatever you may perceive, you are not what you perceive. Q. I am the mirror and the world is the image? M. You can see both the image and the mirror. You are neither. Who are you? Don't go by formulas. The answer is not in words. The nearest you can say in words is, I am what makes perception possible, the life beyond the experiencer and his experience. Now can you separate yourself both from the mirror and the image in the mirror and stand completely alone, all by yourself? Q. No, I cannot. M. How do you know that you cannot? There are so many things you are doing without knowing how to do it. You digest, you circulate your blood and lymph, you move your muscles, all without knowing how. In the same way, you perceive, you feel, you think without knowing the why and the how of it. Similarly, you are yourself without knowing it. There's nothing wrong with you as the self. It is what it is to perfection. It is the mirror that is not clear and true, and therefore gives you false images. You need not correct yourself, only set right your idea of yourself. Learn to separate yourself from the image and the mirror. Keep on remembering, I am neither the mind nor its ideas. Do it patiently and with conviction, and you will surely come to the direct vision of yourself as the source of being, knowing, loving, eternal, all-embracing, all-pervading. You are the infinite focused in a body. Now you see the body only. Try earnestly, and you will come to see the infinite only. Q. The experience of reality, when it comes, does it last? M. All experience is necessarily transient, but the ground of all experience is immovable. Nothing that may be called an event will last, but some events purify the mind and some stain it. Moments of deep insight and all-embracing love purify the mind, while desires and tears, envies and anger, blind beliefs and intellectual arrogance pollute and dull the psyche. Q. Is self-realization so important? M. Without it, you will be consumed by desires and fears, repeating themselves meaninglessly in endless suffering. Most of the people do not know that there can be an end to pain. But once they've heard the good news, obviously, going beyond all strife and struggle is the most urgent task that can be. You know that you can be free, and now it's up to you. Either you remain ever hungry and thirsty, longing, searching, grabbing, holding, ever losing and sorrowing, or go out wholeheartedly in search of the state of timeless perfection to which nothing can be added, from which nothing taken away. In it, all desires and fears are absent, not because they were given up, but because they have lost their meaning. Q. So far, I've been following you. Now, what am I expected to do? M. There is nothing to do. Just be. Do nothing. Be. No climbing mountains and sitting in caves. I do not even say be yourself, since you do not know yourself. Just be. Having seen that you are neither the outer world of perceivables, nor the inner world of thinkables, that you are neither body nor mind, just be. Q. Surely there are degrees of realization. M. There are no steps to self-realization. There's nothing gradual about it. It happens suddenly and is irreversible. You rotate into a new dimension, seen from which the previous ones are mere abstractions. Just like on sunrise you see things as they are, so on self-realization you see everything as it is. The world of illusions is left behind. Q. In the state of realization, do things change? They become colorful and full of meaning? M. The experience is quite right, but it is not the experience of reality, but of harmony, of the universe. Q. Nevertheless, there is progress. M. There can be progress only in the preparation, sadhana. Realization is sudden. The fruit ripens slowly, but falls suddenly and without return. Q. I'm physically and mentally at peace. What more do I need to do? M. Yours may not be the ultimate state. You will recognize that you have returned to your natural state by a complete absence of all desire and fear. After all, at the root of all desire and fear is the feeling of not being what you are. Just as a dislocated joint pains only as long as it is out of shape and is forgotten as soon as it is set right, so is all self-concern a symptom of mental distortion, which disappears as soon as one is in the normal state. Q. Yes, but what is the sadhana for achieving the natural state? M. Hold on to the sense I am, to the exclusion of everything else. When thus the mind becomes completely silent, it shines with a new light and vibrates with new knowledge. It all comes spontaneously. You need only hold on to the I am. Just like emerging from sleep or a state of rapture, you feel rested, and yet you cannot explain why and how you come to feel so well. In the same way, on realization, you feel complete, fulfilled, free from the pleasure-pain complex, and yet not always able to explain what happened, why, and how. You can put it only in negative terms. Nothing is wrong with me any longer. It is only by comparison with the past that you know you are out of it. Otherwise, you are just yourself. Don't try to convey it to others. If you can, it is not the real thing. Be silent and watch it expressing itself in action. Q. If you could tell me what I shall become, it may help me to watch over my development. M. How can anybody tell you what you shall become when there is no becoming? You merely discover what you are. All molding oneself to a pattern is a grievous waste of time. Think neither of the past nor of the future. Just be. Q. How can I just be? Changes are inevitable. M. Changes are inevitable in the changeful, but you are not subject to them. You are the changeless background against which changes are perceived. Q. Everything changes. The background also changes. There is no need of a changeless background to notice changes. The self is momentary. It's merely the point where the past meets the future. M. Of course, the self based on memory is momentary, but such self demands unbroken continuity behind it. You know from experience that there are gaps whenever your self is forgotten. What brings it back to life? What wakes you up in the morning? There must be some constant factor bridging the gaps in consciousness. If you watch carefully, you'll find that even your daily consciousness is in flashes, with gaps intervening all the time. What is in the gaps? What can there be but your real being? That is timeless. Mind and mindless are one to it. Q. Is there any particular place you would advise me to go for spiritual attainment? M. The only proper place is within. The outer world neither can help nor hinder. No system, no pattern of action will take you to your goal. Give up all working for a future. Concentrate totally on the now. Be concerned only with your response to every moment of life as it happens. Q. What is the cause of the urge to roam about? M. There is no cause. You merely dream that you roam about. In a few years, your stay in India will appear as a dream to you. You will dream some other dream at that time. Do realize that it is not you who moves from dream to dream, but the dreams flow before you, and you are the immutable witness. No happening affects your real being. This is the absolute truth. Q. Can I move about physically and keep steady inwardly? M. You can, but what purpose does it serve? If you are earnest, you will find that in the end you will get fed up with the roaming and regret the waste of energy and time. To find yourself, you need not take a single step. Q. Is there any difference between the experience of the self, Atman, and the absolute Brahman? M. There can be no experience of the absolute as it is beyond all experience. On the other hand, the self is the experiencing factor in every experience, and thus, in a way, validates the multiplicity of experiences. The world may be full of things of great value, but if there is nobody to buy them, they have no price. The Absolute contains everything experienceable, but without the experiencer, they are as nothing. That which makes the experience possible is the Absolute. That which makes it actual is the Self. Q. Don't we reach the Absolute through a gradation of experiences, beginning with the grossest, we end up with the most sublime? M. There can be no experience without desire for it. There can be gradation between desires, but between the most sublime desire and the freedom from all desire, there's an abyss which must be crossed. The unreal may look real, but it is transient. The real is not afraid of time. Q. Is not the unreal the expression of the real? M. How can it be? It's like saying that truth expresses itself in dreams. To the real, the unreal is not. It appears to be real only because you believe in it, doubt it, and it ceases. When you are in love with somebody, you give it reality. You imagine your love to be all-powerful and everlasting. When it comes to an end, you say, I thought it was real, but it wasn't. Transiency is the best proof of unreality. What is limited in time and space and applicable to one person only is not real. The real is for all and forever. Above everything else, you cherish yourself. You would accept nothing in exchange for your existence. The desire to be is the strongest of all desires and will go only on the realization of your true nature. Q. Even in the unreal, there's a touch of reality. M. Yes, the reality you impart to it by taking it to be real. Having convinced yourself, you are bound by your conviction. When the sun shines, colors appear. When it sets, they disappear. Where are the colors without the light? Q. This is thinking in terms of duality. M. All thinking is in duality. In identity, no thought survives. Chapter 70. God is the end of all desire and knowledge. Maharaj. Where are you coming from? What have you come for? Questioner. I come from America, and my friend is from the Republic of Ireland. I came about 6 months ago, and I was traveling from ashram to ashram. My friend came on his own. M. What have you seen? Q. I've been at Sri Ramanashram, and also I visited Rishikesh. Can I ask you what is your opinion of Sri Ramana Maharishi? M. We are both in the same ancient state. But what do you know of Maharishi? You take yourself to be a name and a body, so all you perceive are names and bodies. Q. Were you to meet the Maharishi, what would happen? M. Probably we would feel quite happy. We may even exchange a few words. Q. But would he recognize you as a liberated man? M. Of course. As a man recognizes a man, so a jnani recognizes jnani. You cannot appreciate what you have not experienced. You are what you think yourself to be, but you cannot think yourself to be what you have not experienced. Q. To become an engineer, I must learn engineering. To become God, what must I learn? M. You must unlearn everything. God is the end of all desire and knowledge. Q. You mean to say that I become God merely by giving up the desire to become God? M. All desires must be given up, because by desiring you take the ship of your desires. When no desires remain, you revert to your natural state. Q. How do I come to know that I have achieved perfection? M. You cannot know perfection. You can know only imperfection. For knowledge to be, there must be separation and disharmony. You can know what you are not, but you cannot know your real being. You can be only what you are. The entire approach is through understanding, which is in the seeing of the false as false. But to understand, you must observe from outside. Q. The Vedantic concept of Maya, illusion, applies to the manifested. Therefore, our knowledge of the manifested is unreliable. But we should be able to trust our knowledge of the unmanifested. M. There can be no knowledge of the unmanifested. The potential is unknowable. Only the actual can be known. Q. Why should the knower remain unknown? M. The knower knows the known. Do you know the knower? Who's the knower of the knower? You want to know the unmanifested. Can you say you know the manifested? Q. I know things and ideas and their relations. It's the sum total of all my experiences. M. All? Q. Well, all actual experiences. I admit I cannot know what did not happen. M. If the manifested is the sum total of all actual experiences, including their experiencers, how much of the total do you know? A very small part, indeed. And what is the little you know? Q. Some sensory experiences as related to myself. M. Not even that. You only know that you react. Who reacts and to what? You do not know. You know on contact that you exist. I am. The I am this, I am that are imaginary. Q. I know the manifested because I participate in it. I admit my part in it is very small, yet it's as real as the totality of it. And what's more important, I give it meaning. Without me, the world is dark and silent. M. A firefly illuminating the world. You don't give meaning to the world, you find it. Dive deep into yourself and find the source from where all meaning flows. Surely it is not the superficial mind that can give meaning. Q. What makes me limited and superficial? M. The total is open and available, but you will not take it. You are attached to the little person you think yourself to be. Your desires are narrow, your ambitions petty. After all, without a center of perception, where would be the manifested? Unperceived, the manifested is as good as the unmanifested. And you are the perceiving point, the non-dimensional source of all dimensions. Know yourself as the total. Q. How can a point contain a universe? M. There is enough space in a point for an infinity of universes. There's no lack of capacity. Self-limitation is the only problem. But you cannot run away from yourself. However far you go, you come back to yourself and to the need of understanding this point, which is as nothing and yet the source of everything. Q. I came to India in search of a yoga teacher. I am still in search. M. What kind of yoga do you want to practice? The yoga of getting or the yoga of giving up? Q. Don't they come to the same in the end? M. How can they? One enslaves, the other liberates. The motive matters supremely. Freedom comes through renunciation. All possession is bondage. Q. What I have the strength and the courage to hold on to, why should I give up? And if I have not the strength, how can I give up? I do not understand this need of giving up. When I want something, why should I not pursue it? Renunciation is for the weak. M. If you do not have the wisdom and the strength to give up, just look at your possessions. Your mere looking will burn them up. If you can stand outside your mind, you will soon find that total renunciation of possessions and desires is the most obviously reasonable thing to do. You create the world and then worry about it. Becoming selfish makes you weak. If you think you have the strength and courage to desire, it is because you are young and inexperienced. Invariably, the object of desire destroys the means of acquiring it, and then itself withers away. It is all for the best, because it teaches you to shun desire like poison. Q. How am I to practice desirelessness? M. No need of practice, no need of any acts of renunciation. Just turn your mind away. That is all. Desire is merely the fixation of the mind on an idea. Get it out of its groove by denying it attention. Q. That is all? M. Yes, that is all. Whatever may be the desire or fear, don't dwell upon it. Try and see for yourself. Here and there you may forget, it doesn't matter. Go back to your attempts until the brushing away of every desire and fear, of every reaction, becomes automatic. Q. How can one live without emotions? M. You can have all the emotions you want, but beware of reactions, of induced emotions. Be entirely self-determined and ruled from within, not from without. Merely giving up a thing to secure a better one is not true relinquishment. Give it up because you see its valuelessness. As you keep on giving up, you will find that you grow spontaneously in intelligence and power and inexhaustible love and joy. Q. Why so much insistence on relinquishing all desires and fears? Are they not natural? M. They are not. They are entirely man-made. You have to give up everything to know that you need nothing, not even your body. Your needs are unreal and your efforts are meaningless. You imagine that your possessions protect you. In reality, they make you vulnerable. Realize yourself as away from all that can be pointed at as this or that. You are unreachable by any sensory experience or verbal construction. Turn away from them. Refuse to impersonate. Q. After I have heard you, what am I to do? M. Only hearing will not help you much. You must keep it in mind and ponder over it and try to understand the state of mind which makes me say what I say. I speak from truth. Stretch your hand and take it. You are not what you think yourself to be, I assure you. The image you have of yourself is made up from memories and is purely accidental. Q. What I am is the result of my karma. M. What you appear to be, you are not. Karma is only a word you have learned to repeat. You've never been, nor shall you ever be, a person. Refuse to consider yourself as one. But as long as you do not even doubt yourself to be a Mr. So-and-so, there is little hope. When you refuse to open your eyes, what can you be shown? Q. I imagine karma to be a mysterious power that urges me towards perfection. M. That's what people told you. You are already perfect here and now. The perfectible is not you. You imagine yourself to be what you are not. Stop it. It is the cessation that is important, not what you are going to stop. Q. Did not karma compel me to become what I am? M. Nothing compels. You are as you believe yourself to be. Stop believing. Q. Here you are sitting on your seat and talking to me. What compels you is your karma. M. Nothing compels me. I do what needs doing. But you do so many unnecessary things. It's your refusal to examine that creates karma. It's the indifference to your own suffering that perpetuates it. Q. Yes, it is true. What can put an end to this indifference? M. The urge must come from within as a wave of detachment or compassion. Q. Could I meet this urge halfway? M. Of course. See your own condition. See the condition of the world. Q. We were told about karma and reincarnation, evolution and yoga, masters and disciples. What are we to do with all this knowledge? M. Leave it all behind you. Forget it. Go forth unburdened with ideas and beliefs. Abandon all verbal structures, all relative truth, all tangible objectives. The absolute can be reached by absolute devotion only. Don't be half-hearted. Q. I must begin with some absolute truth. Is there any? M. Yes, there is the feeling I am. Begin with that. Q. Nothing else is true? M. All else is neither true nor false. It seems real when it appears. It disappears when it is denied. A transient thing is a mystery. Q. I thought the real is the mystery. M. How can it be? The real is simple, open, clear and kind, beautiful and joyous. It's completely free of contradictions. It's ever new, ever fresh, endlessly creative. Being and non-being, life and death. All distinctions merge in it. Q. I can admit that all is false, but does it make my mind non-existent? M. The mind is what it thinks. To make it true, think true. Q. If the shape of things is mere appearance, what are they in reality? M. In reality, there is only perception. The perceiver and the perceived are conceptual. The fact of perceiving is actual. Q. Where does the absolute come in? M. The absolute is the birthplace of perceiving. It makes perception possible. But too much analysis leads you nowhere. There is in you the core of being, which is beyond analysis, beyond the mind. You can know it in action only. Express it in daily life, and its light will grow ever brighter. The legitimate function of the mind is to tell you what is not. But if you want positive knowledge, you must go beyond the mind. Q. In all the universe, is there one single thing of value? M. Yes, the power of love.